is Justin Kruger. I'm one of the community managers on Assassin's Creed, and we're joined today by Scott Phillips. Almost forgot your name for a second. I was going to call you Jeff, but apparently that's been happening. Like, yeah, I know, you're the one with hair. That's right, and less cool facial hair. Jeff does that's pretty cool with facial hair, and cool glasses too. But we already went home. But we do have the game director on Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Jeff. You just did it. Jeff Scott Phillips. Scott Phillips. Sorry, man. I apologize. It's been a long week. You guys understand. Cool. So I think we'll open up to questions, and if you ask a question, or even if you have feedback or anything, you just want to say you love us. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, thank you. You too, guys. But if you do ask a question, you get a little flag. So.
He's going for the flag first. Yeah. So, was the Chameleon skill inspired by the wolf power in the Tyranny of King Washington DLC of Racing 3?
Well, that DLC was made by the Ubisoft Quebec studio, which is we're leading our first Assassin's Creed project. So we're really excited about that. I would say it is the idea of being able to hide in plain sight would probably have been influenced by that. Yeah, the main feedback that you're going to see is the sort of predator cloak. The idea is not that Evie has a button that she pushes that turns on her predator cloak. It's more about easily communicating to the player, you can't be seen right now. So that what you're seeing is just along the lines of what the Animus would do, of sort of overlaying things on top of the memories and the history of what happened. So it's more of for communicating to the player.
And if the enemy comes nearer, does he see?
You get detected. If the enemy gets too close to you, there's a certain range where she will be seen. If they bump into her, she will be detected.
Okay.
Do you guys release a new big statue from viewers or something?
A new statue? Is that? I'm sorry.
Did you release a new statue for like collector's editions?
I don't know.
I don't know that either.
I mostly
giant statues. There's always one that says Louis. So wait a little bit for the giant statues. There are like the collectible edition statues that you can get, but the big ones you're talking about, right? The life size. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, that's coming soon. So, yeah.
Well, black box is an interesting term because I think the more important thing for me is the 360 philosophy, that idea of here's an objective and you can use your tools in any way you want to complete that objective. So black box describes a certain type of mission, but the 360 philosophy is throughout the game. So we try to make sure that the activities, everything in the open world, all the side missions, all the main missions abide by that, and make sure that, like, if you're tailing a carriage and it gets away, it's not a desync, it's not a fail, you need to go and relocate them. So it's that idea of not forcing these hard failures on the player and letting them choose their path and figure things out. So there are black box missions, but that philosophy is throughout the entire game.
First of all, thank you for the road launch, I love it. I was a bit wary at first because I thought, okay, it's kind of Batmanish, but it's awesome to get like from one roof to the other. It's awesome, I loved it. And my question is about the levels. I noticed there are levels, like the guards were mostly 6 or 7 on that demo, and I just want to have a perspective, like is it 6 or 7 out of 10 or 20 or?
The max is 10. The Evie mission is about halfway through the game, so you're seeing enemies about half of the power that they would be near the end of the game, and then there's a lot of content that you're not going to be able to do if you just grind through the story. You're going to need to do open world content as well to take on the hardest stuff in the game.
So good. Thank you very much. And that's actually leading to my second question about the levels. So how do you level up? Is it just equipment, or is it skills, or like I heard there's a skill tree?
Yes. So any activity or mission that you complete, you get experience points. Also, just by doing assassin actions, so stealth kills, air assassinates, multi kills, all those sorts of things. When you play the game well, very much like an assassin, we give you experience points. And every 1,000 experience points is a skill point that you can spend on skills. So there's a lot of skills available to you. Once you've got a certain number of skills, then you gain a level. So it could sound a little complicated, but it's actually very smooth in practice. And so we've tuned it so it feels very rewarding. But in order to get to the highest level stuff, you really need to play a lot of content.
Question?
I have a question about fights against enemies, because when I remember in Unity, you had a lot of items or skills you can use, but you really don't need it. So you can beat very strong enemies from the beginning up to the end. Did you change something with that? So maybe the enemies are stronger, and for example, you can't kill any enemy at level 1. Like the last
yes,
game.
you cannot kill any enemy from level 1. I mean, it would. You could go from Whitechapel, which is the starting borough, down to Westminster, and you would be beaten up pretty badly. That's the hardest area of the city, and you're going to feel it if you get in there. The gang members and the Templars that are there are much tougher. In terms of combat, yeah, the focus was on making it fast, fun, brutal. I think it's really enjoyable to get into the fluidity of it, to do multiple moves, bouncing from enemy to enemy, and you definitely feel a sense of getting better over the course of the game as you figure out the rhythm of how things work.
Another?
I got a question about the setting. So in Unity we had basic setting Paris, and then we had a little other location, Versailles, and I wanted to ask if this game is now totally focused exclusively on London, or will there other settings be as well?
You do start the game outside of London. I would say a very large portion of the game takes part in London, but there are some places you go that are not in London. So I can't answer it directly because I don't want to spoil anything, but there are things that take place outside of London.
Any questions?
It's just about the horses. I just wanted to know if it's possible to ride them like in Brotherhood or in Assassin's Creed 3, or are they just the carriages?
We focused on the carriages, so it's 1-horse, 2-horse carriages, omnibuses, huge vehicles, smaller ones called hansoms, which are very small. Most of the traffic at that time was more carriages, so that's what we chose to focus on. The focus for us was on the gangs of London. So Jacob and Evie sort of break from what their leader is telling them to do, and they decide that London is going to be their focus. The assassins don't necessarily want to take the Templars on in London because they think it would be the death of them. The Templars in London are just too powerful. So Jacob and Evie decide that the gangs of London are the way that they're going to take back the city. And so you build up those gangs throughout the course of the game, and they become your family in that way.
Questions?
So how will the gang work? I mean, will be the player able to use them whenever he likes, whenever he needs, or I don't know, there are fixed moments in which you can use the gang, or else will they have side missions just for themselves, or?
So the gangs, you can, as you take over the city, you get more and more of them available to you. They become more and more common within the city, and you can recruit them at any time. You can take them into any activity, mission. They're really meant to be a tool that you can use throughout the entire game. So they're present everywhere, and then we have a whole upgrade tree specifically for them, and upgrading them in the city. So there's a lot of content with the game.
So, which kind of interactions can we have with the Thames and the boats audience? So, what kind of interaction can we have?
So most of the interaction is going to be attacking cargo ships. You can move across the river. It's a very, very active location at that time. There were hundreds of boats always in the Thames, so it's parkouring across the river is a lot of fun because it's always in motion. You're always having to make choices about, do I take that barge? Do I go over this way? Do I use the boat launcher? So there's a lot of interactivity with the parkour. There's activities out there for you to earn income and resources, and then there's also some missions and other activities that take place on the river.
So I was very interested in the false arrest activity. I was wondering if that could be used in the open world too, and how that might apply to the open world activities.
Sure. So in the open world, or when Evie does it, it's called Kidnap is the skill, and we have a whole activity based around it in the open world, which you need to find targets and bring them someplace. And the best way to complete that is to do it in plain sight and bring them out alive. So basically, you just walk up to someone, you grab them, threaten them, and you have a hidden blade to their back, so they're going to do what you tell them. But if you get too close to enemies, and that's what the circle shows you, if you get too close to enemies, they sort of recognize, like, you're not supposed to be here, you're not supposed to be doing that, and so they'll start attacking you. So it's all about moving slowly and then quickly to get someplace. It's a really fun mechanic, and that, again, sort of like Chameleon, it can mix really well with the tools, and you can create some situations that we hadn't really expected. But it's great if you develop that skill and work on it. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah, I think in my next playthrough I'm going to try that because I didn't do that. I think it's kind of cool. When I first saw someone doing that, I was like, wait a second, what are you doing? Like, how is that happening? That's really I think it's a really cool design element there.
So in Unity, I was a big fan of the murder mission, the murder mystery mission, and recently PlayStation on their blog they announced the Dreadful Crimes mission. Are they going to be the same, or will Syndicate have murder mystery missions and the exclusive Dreadful Crime missions for PlayStation?
That sort of gameplay is focused in the Dreadful Crimes on the PlayStation exclusive.
How was the setting of the events in London determined?
The setting of what? Sorry?
Of London.
Well, there's always a lot of great opportunities. I mean, Assassin's Creed, I think that's one of the huge strengths of this series is being able to jump through time and go to very specific iconic periods like the French Revolution or Jerusalem or Renaissance Italy, or all those are just fantastic locations. And among those was Industrial Revolution, London. So it was just a great fit for the studio. Bringing the systemic vehicles and the carriages was something that Ubisoft Quebec had experience with, so it made a lot of sense for us. And it's just we love that time period, and it just really made sense for everyone for us to do it.
History is our playground.
Exactly.
Any other questions? Cool. I think those are all the questions. Thank you guys so much for
Thank you very much for
a round of applause for Scott Phillips.